Welcome back to another video in this state series, and for now we're going to go to Italy, and the next few videos are going to be on teams in Italy. Throughout the past few weeks I've been doing a deep dive into the teams in Premier League in Portugal. Previously to that I went to the Bundesliga, Premier League, so now it's like to change things up a bit. I also went to Ligue 1, my bad, I also went to Ligue 1. Now to change things up a bit, I'm going to go to Italy. This first video is going to be about Juventus, and the next one will be on Inter. But in typical state fashion series, let's go over my predictions that I made at the beginning of the season and how they have fared so far. Well, for Juventus, I also did not make any predictions. I didn't make any predictions for Ligue 1. To be fair, the only predictions I made were for the Premier League and the Champions League. But as in all the other videos where I didn't make a prediction, looking back at my mind state and what I thought of the team back then, I would say that I expected Juventus to win Serie A and to be a dark horse in the Champions League. A dark horse. I have to really be careful with this word because Juventus is one of the biggest teams in Europe. I say dark horse because they weren't one of the favourites. In my opinion, the 5 favourites to win the Champions League at the beginning of the season were PSG, Chelsea, Bayern, Manchester City and Manchester United, and I thought that Juventus together with Atletico Madrid, Liverpool and Benfica could be the 4 teams that could challenge or maybe, surprise any of these teams. So that's what I thought, and my predictions have been, I would say, dodgy, but for the most part, at least in the Champions League, they've been true. So in terms of the league, how have Juventus fared so far in the league? Juventus had arguably the worst start to the league of any big European club. I mean, at some point they were like 17th or something like that, and they've made a major comeback. But that start costed them. When you start that bad, I think they only started to make a comeback in like November. They started very, very bad. The comeback of Pellegrini was something positive, but the morale for Juventus at the beginning of the season was down bad. It was horrible, and I don't really understand why. Because Italy won the Euros, and many of the players that in that squad played for Juventus or were gonna go to Juventus. One of these players that I saw in my eyes that was going to have a big impact this season was Chiesa. Then you of course have the likes of Bonucci, who is still in the team, and Dybala, who was always going to have a bigger impact with Ronaldo now gone. So especially, I was definitely looking at Dybala and Chiesa to make a very good duo, especially now with Ronaldo gone. They were going to have much more of the ball. They're going to see much more of the game, and unfortunately, at the beginning of the season, that's not what happened. They had a horrible start, and it is now costing them. But again, they've made a major comeback. They're now 4th. They're back in those comfortable spots, and they sit 7 points behind Napoli for that 3rd place to get into those Champions League spots. So hopefully Juventus get back in those spots, because I really like to see these Italian teams in the Champions League. So that's as far as my predictions go. What has gone right? What has gone well for Juventus? And if we're going to talk about Juventus highlights this season, then we need to go to the Champions League. And the main thing with Juventus, I think, is how they managed to finish first in a group with Chelsea. Chelsea, as we all know, won the Champions League last season, and although their performance in the league and whatnot has been declining as the season has progressed, Chelsea at the beginning of the season were a very good team, very good squad, and they were really, it was at the beginning of the season, but they were being very consistent. And Juventus beat them in that famous, when Bonucci said that it wasn't, Bonucci or Chiellini, one of them, said that it wasn't a big deal playing with Chelsea, it was just another game for them, and then they beat them. That's quite a very interesting match. And they managed to finish 1st place. I mean, the other 2 teams were Zenit and Malmo, so they were always going to win those 4 games. So yeah, that's something that has gone very well for Juventus, finishing 1st place in their group. Another thing that has gone well is once again their comeback in the league, because I'll reiterate this as many times as it need be, but their start to the league was horrible. Again, the worst start to the league that Juventus have had in a long time. But they've managed to come back to fourth, which is very good. So, on the other hand, what has gone wrong for Juventus? And really, the only thing that has gone wrong for Juventus is the horrible start to the league, which is now costing them. Now let's look at their top 3 performers so far this season. Their top performer so far this season, in my eyes, needs to go to Dybala. At least when he was performing. And again, to be fair, Dybala has suffered quite a few injuries. He suffered one in October, one in December, one in November, and then another one now in Feb. So it's not been the best, but when Dybala has played, he's been the man on the pitch. He scored 7 goals and assisted 5 times in the league, and in the Champions League he was outstanding, especially with that game against Zenit. He scored 3 goals and assisted once in 4 games played. So that I'd give it to Dybala. Another player that had been playing very well before the injuries was Chiesa, but it just looks like this guy cannot get a break from these injuries. So that's been another disappointing side in Juventus, but at least now they have Vlahovic. An amazing signing, impressive signing. The way Juventus managed to get this deal was impressive, because the amount of clubs that wanted this guy. He scored 18 goals in 24 games this season. And he's only 22. He's like it's Serbian Haaland, if you want. I made a video on Vlahovic before if you want to take a look at that. But that's really a very good signing, and hopefully Vlahovic can be one of the cornerstones for Juventus moving forward. I mean, looking at the front 3 of this team next season, they have Chiesa on the left, Vlahovic up front, and Dybala on the right. That is one scary front 3. But that's it for Juventus, really. Again, this state series is just an overview of what the season of each team has been like. And for Juventus, it's pretty much been this. Thank you very much for watching the video until the end. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more game analysis, football history, individual performances, top 10s, etc. If you are interested and would like more football content like this, please subscribe to the channel.